Here's the mic. And here is the jewelry jelly, along with George Washing Machine and Cody. By the way, Cody is wearing the outfit that I got for him from the Sen Lucky Pack. Alright, so, I hope you all are doing well tonight. It is super windy out where I am, so if we lose power, you'll know the reason why. Alright, so, we are going to go back into the world of the not-too-distant future. 2042. We feel a mysterious power calling. We meet again. Now you shall name your choice. Okay, so we got ourselves some perks, and let's see what we got here. We gotta see our quests. Let's see, fluff and tragic romance, heart-wrenching, reincarnation, funny, fluff, medieval, violence, and violence? Okay. Hello, Dr. Zadium, and hello, MJD. How is everything going tonight? Alright, so, let's see. We are looking for... Doing well, that's good. Let's see. We'll, see if we can... Any fluffy medieval stuff. Medieval violence. Let's see. Let's check the exhibition hall. Okay. And let's take another visit out. We'll go to the cat cafe. While surrounded by fluffy kitties. Oh, sentinels. Alright, we got ourselves a topic for a commission. So let's do that. Okay, Sentinels, hurt, comfort, drama, mental cleansing. Whoops. It is time for go to bed, it looks like. Well, we'll just have to do that tomorrow. Oh, and I've got some more commissions. Some modern drama. Alright, so we're gonna start by doing the Sentinels. Okay. Mental cleansing. When James was brought back, his mental landscape was on the brink of collapse. His eyes were bloodshot, resembling a dying feral beast, with no reflection of anything in his gaze. It's no use, I tried to conduct a mental cleanse, but his psyche is tangled into chaotic whirlpool. We can't enter, one guide said breathlessly. If this continues, his consciousness will unravel, and then... He left the rest unsaid. Everyone knew what would come next. James would be reduced to a mindless sentinel, a wild beast who the central tower would immediately put down. Leave him to me, said Jesse. But Jesse, if you get lost in there too. Exactly, you're the central tower's best guide, and he's just... Sentinels were expendable. Guides were simply tools used to maintain the sentinels. Everyone thought so. I said, leave him to me. Jesse's tone brooked no argument. The others had no choice but to retreat. In the room designed for white noise therapy, James showed no sign of improvement. Jessie sat beside him and carefully let her mental strength extend towards James to calm him. James, Jessie whispered. James remained unresponsive. Taking a deep breath, Jesse entered James's mind. It wasn't the first time Jesse had entered James's mental landscape, yet it felt like a foreign place. It was nothing like the familiar territory. A furious storm and dark clouds roared overhead, while the ground seemed like rubble after an earthquake. Jessie tried to expand her mental field, but quickly felt it disintegrate. "James!" Jessie called out loudly. No answer came, but Jessie stumbled forward through the wreckage. At last, Jessie saw him. James was crouched in a dark corner, arms around himself. As Jessie approached, James looked up. His eyes were bloodshot, hair disheveled, even more unkempt than usual. He looked like a cornered animal. "Leave. Now!" James growled, then collapsed in agony, clutching the ground with fingers curled tightly, using every ounce of willpower to hold on to sanity. Fighting his base instincts was a torment, especially for a sentinel as powerful as James. The fact that he hadn't yet torn Jessie to pieces was already a miracle. "Enough now, it's time to let go," Jessie murmured, releasing her guiding force to soothe him. "Don't meddle," James growled, teeth clenched, trying to endure, though as a sentinel he ached for the guide's touch. At last, in Jessie's embrace, he surrendered and drifted into a deep sleep. Jessie maintained her mental strength, extending her guiding field until James's mental landscape gradually grew calm. Only then did she slowly pull away. Ugh! Jessie couldn't hold it in and coughed up a mouthful of blood. Without flinching, she wiped the blood from her lips. Looking down at James, still asleep but no longer suffering, she sighed softly. Aww. Okay, we'll post that. Ooh, got some ethereal snow hits. And commission is complete. Ooh, we got a nice poster out of it. Okay, so medieval fluff and violence. Why violence twice? Okay, so no medieval fluff, but let's see what other stuff we can gather. Let's see, modern, fantasy, campus. Let's try medieval again. Maybe we'll get a fluff story. There we go. Alright. Time for go to bed. I did not have the music on for the past couple minutes. I apologize. There we go. Alright, the Gashapon machine has been refreshed at the mall. Why don't we check it out? Wow, my biggest fan. Alright, medieval fluff. Jessie carefully set down the fruit basket and bowed deeply before the altar. Jessie, Lord Mountain God, today's offerings are here. The temple looked long abandoned, its pillars rotting and bricks scattered, but strangely, there were no weeds, as if someone still maintained the place. Once Jessie's figure had disappeared down the mountain path, the fruit basket suddenly moved, seeming to float into the shadowy shrine. Villagers, seeing her return, couldn't resist sneering. Oh, off to worship that mountain god again? Jessie ignored them, already knowing what they'd say. Jessie, I told you, my Lord Mountain God saved me from that fire. And look, the offerings are always gone. That's probably just someone taking them. Only you would believe in that mountain god nonsense. An orphan like you has always been a little crazy, worshipping some ghost in an abandoned shrine. Jessie walked on, letting their words slide off her. He had to be real, otherwise she would have perished in that fire along with her parents. In her last breath, she had seen a nearly transparent white figure carrying her out of the flames. Oh, excuse me. So, Lord Mountain God, if possible, please take me with you. Turning, Jessie saw the villagers' faces twisted into the torchlight, as if they had become demons themselves. Behind her lay a cliff edge, and the once familiar forest seemed terrifying in the dark. Jessie, this drought is a natural disaster. It has nothing to do with Lord Mountain God. Doesn't your Lord Mountain God adore you? Then it's only right you became a sacrifice, isn't it? Hearing their cruel taunts, Jessie closed her eyes. They just needed a scapegoat. She would bear the blame, and they could vent their frustrations. So be it. She was tired of this life. Jessie leapt from the cliff without hesitation. But as she fell, a gentle wind cradled her, and the transparent figure appeared once more, catching her. Shall I help with this drought? For the last time, please help them. Then in return, you'll stay here with me. He sounded almost like one of those dark gods who required sacrifices to act, but if it was James, I'd be honored. Okay, so it didn't get the fluff tag. So let's rewrite. Okay, so gonna start it again. Da 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 da. Shall I help with this drought? Nah. No, Lord Mountain God, this is not your concern. It's only a natural disaster, and So you're more ruthless than I thought. Would you hate me for it, for my selfishness? No, I rather like it. After all, she was his only worshipper, and he'd rather she devoted herself to him entirely. If you mean that old temple, I'll repair it for you. It doesn't look livable. James tapped Jessie on the head, smiling. Do I look like just any mountain god? I'd have left that shabby temple ages ago if it weren't for you. Aw. Alright. Okay, commission is complete. And we got ourselves a wallpaper. Okay. And it is now time for go to bed. Okay, we've got a Jessie only and a James only exhibit. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, we can level up the exhibition hall. And we can start writing Xiansha stories. I don't know how you pronounce it, but apparently there are these stories that, let's see, what is it? Heaven's Lost Property. Oh wait, no, that's not it. What is that one? It's the Dunmay books. Alright, use caution with perfume for the ABO 12-hour event. Something was definitely strange, very strange, ever since yesterday. Jessie absentmindedly poked a few ink spots onto her textbook, catching glimpses of sneaky glances, amused smiles, and whispers exchanged behind raised hands. What's going on? Jessie couldn't resist pulling out her phone to double-check her own perfectly good-looking face, not noticing anything amiss. Finally, she put the phone away with a shrug. Did anything else change? Jessie hesitated, lifting her arm to sniff gently. A faint hint of mint drifted past her nose. Jessie remembered trying out a new perfume 2 days ago, but that couldn't be the problem. She actually found it quite pleasant. As soon as the bell rang to end the last class, Jessie grabbed her bag and dashed back to her dorm room, ignoring the curious stares along the way. With a loud slam, Jessie closed the door and leaned against it, panting. She didn't even bother to set down her bag before turning to look at her roommates, who were glancing at each other with uneasy expressions. What exactly is going on? Her roommates exchanged uneasy glances before one of them cautiously spoke up. Aren't you an Omega? Well, just look for yourself. We're all betas. We don't get it. Jessie had never hidden the fact that she was an Omega. Everyone at the school knew it. Confused, Jessie took the phone handed to her and quickly scanned the page. Almost immediately, she felt faint. Title: Has anyone noticed Jessie's pheromones have changed? Oh my god, is this the famous Jessie I'm thinking of, the well-known Omega? I remember her pheromones used to smell like mint. Yeah, and it was pretty pleasant. OP, tell us more. I'm one of her classmates. Today when I passed by her, the scent had changed. It's still mint, but much stronger now. And that's a pretty rare scent. I can confirm the scent has definitely changed. Wait, mint? I see where you're going with this, upstairs. Someone managed to claim Jessie. Is it that person? Is it really? This is definitely a marking situation, right? That's some serious business. Oops, sorry, MJD, what were you saying? Can't stay quiet anymore. Stop scaring the freshmen. It's someone called James. Look it up on the forum, the one that has tons of posts. The most famous alpha in the school. Wait, aren't James and Jessie supposed to not get along? Everyone knows James always overshadows Jessie. Which is why I'm asking, could it be that their rivalry was just a front and they've actually been secretly involved this whole time? Maybe even last night, well, you know, consummating things? Jessie scrolled down, watching the wild speculation grow more absurd, with comments going so far as to add fake evidence, claiming they'd kissed behind the school 500 times and shared a bed 800 times. If she weren't there herself, she might have believed it. Grinding her teeth, Jessie scrolled down to the forum's newest post. Ooh, so do we confirm or do we deny? Yes, Jessie and I are in a relationship. What the? Jessie stared at the screen in shock. Sure, she had had her own little agenda when picking the scent of her perfume, but that didn't mean they were dating. Just then, Jessie's phone rang. Have you seen the forum? Just now. When did I mark you? Was it last week at the club outing when I was drunk, or was it... Wait, hold on. Look, I've liked you for a while. I didn't expect it to come out like this, but I'll take responsibility. His voice tumbled through the phone, not giving Jessie a chance to respond. She found herself laughing out loud. All right, then take responsibility. All right. Yeah, I don't know what I wrote either. Okay, I'd love to see some modern drama. Let's see if we've got some of that. And we don't. Let's see if we've got some angsty fluff. Nope, none of that. Let's see, violence? Demonic wrath. James encountered a mishap during one of his training sessions, almost leading to a chi deviation, an incident well known throughout the sect. In chi cultivation, a misstep can lead to anything from temporary loss of sanity and violent rage to a full explosion of the body. However, James returned from the brink of death seemingly unchanged, still appearing as the same James, sharp and aloof. But James's closest companion, Jessie, sensed something amiss. The first sign came late that night. Around the third watch, Jessie passed the courtyard and saw James practicing alone, enveloped by moonlight, moving with the wind, making even the flower petals tremble. Jessie was startled by the sharpness emanating from James's chi. It seemed that his near-death experience had not weakened him, but rather elevated him to an even higher level. James, your strength has significantly increased, Jessie couldn't help but say admiringly after watching for a while. Unexpectedly, James didn't respond and instead sent a strike of sword energy directly towards her. Jessie quickly sidestepped, avoiding the slash that nicked a few leaves behind her. As James continued practicing tirelessly in the moonlight, Jessie felt inexplicably uneasy. The following day, rumors spread through the martial world. A legendary martial arts manual had surfaced in the Northern Palace. The sect assigned the two to venture together to locate it. James and Jessie readied themselves and set off at once, traveling day and night. During the day, James seemed completely normal, but recalling the red-eyed, restless figure from the previous night made Jessie increasingly uneasy. When Jessie cautiously asked about it, James merely remarked about feeling unusually tired lately. As if he didn't recall anything from that night, Jessie let the matter rest. They continued the journey, resting in a remote cave on one evening. Jessie, a light sleeper, was awakened by a noise. She opened her eyes and was utterly shocked. James was right in front of her, his eyes red, veins bulging on his forehead, a clear sign of chi deviation. "James!" In her panic, Jessie shouted. James clutched his head in agony, but moments later his eyes turned completely black. He thrust his sword towards Jessie. His sword moves were like a rainbow, graceful as a dancing dragon, his skill seemingly having increased dramatically overnight. Jessie quickly blocked the attack, yet, in his berserk state, James's power was extraordinary, far beyond what Jessie with her youth could hope to counter. "James, snap out of it!" Jessie gritted her teeth, but though James seemed to hear, he only responded with a sinister smile. Jessie's chi was nearly depleted, strength waning, while James grew ever more relentless. Jessie decided, Okay, so are we gonna stay to the end or employ James? We're gonna stay to the end. Jessie grit her teeth and resisted, even if her vision becomes blurry. Her resistance seemed to anger James. James pressed her firmly to the ground. Jessie could not move and struggled in But James was still exerting force. He suddenly became so powerful that he was able to easily restrain her resistance. The severe pain caused Jessie to let out a painful, hoarse moan, which sounded like crying. For a moment, James relaxed a little. Suddenly, James stiffened suddenly and fell straight down. Jessie gasped, calmed down for a while, and stepped forward to check, only to see his breathing calmly and his brows serene, as if he was asleep. Jessie managed to clean up the mess. Then she fell into a deep sleep, rather than sleeping. She fell into a coma. James was unaware of it in his sleep and subconsciously reached out to hold Jessie's head. "Jessie, wake up." Jessie opened her eyes and saw James's face, just as it always appeared, his gentle. It seemed as though nothing had happened yesterday. "James, do you not remember?" Jessie asked, full of doubt, but James only looked back in puzzlement. "Didn't we turn in early last night? I thought you wanted an early start to get to the city." Jessie was left speechless. James's expression didn't seem forced. It appeared that he truly had no recollection of yesterday's events. If not for the ache from yesterday's injury inflicted by James, Jessie might have thought it was all a dream. "What happened?" James asked, noticing Jessie stumbling as she rose. Jessie waved it off and replied, "Just a small trip, nothing serious." Alright, we got part 2. James looked at Jessie, words seemingly on the tip of his tongue, but seeing Jessie's distant stance, he refrained from saying more. To be continued. Okay. Alright. You're at some more violence. Okay. Let's see. Demonic Wrath, Part 2. And so the two continued their journey. Each night, James would inevitably lose control, battling Jessie until she was utterly exhausted. Each night, it wouldn't end until Jessie had been pushed to collapse. Jessie suffered through this torment with increasing difficulty. James's strange daytime behavior confirmed to Jessie that these nightly occurrences were no dream. One day, while boarding a boat, James suddenly lost his footing and nearly fell. Jessie decided to... Let's see. Do we help James or do nothing? Let's do nothing! Jessie refrained from reaching out, and James steadied himself after stumbling forward a few steps. Seems my head is a little light, James murmured. Seeing him gripped by confusion and pain, Jessie felt a pang of sympathy. Yet she knew that the truth of those nightly events must stay hidden from James because James wouldn't believe it. Because the truth was too strange, James would never believe it. Worse, they might turn against one another, leading to unforeseen consequences. With their sex mission as the priority, Jessie was forced to endure. Whenever James asked, she would deflect with vague answers, but James wasn't a fool, and suspicion continued to grow in his eyes. Meanwhile, Jessie's injuries worsened till she could no longer conceal them. One day, as they dined in an inn, a group of ruffians noticed they were outsiders and deliberately approached to provoke them, even going as far as insulting their sect. Jessie wasn't one to tolerate such behavior. As a direct disciple, she was more than capable of handling a fight. However, one of the ruffians was unexpectedly skilled and landed a hit on her ribs, the same spot where James had left a sword wound the previous night. Pain caused Jessie's face to pale as she staggered back, frozen in place. Just as the ruffian moved to press the advantage, James stepped forward to shield her. After they drove the ruffians away, Jessie knew there was no hiding anymore. James's eyes shone with bright concern and an earnest inquiry, filled with untainted worry. "How did this happen? Who hurt you?" James demanded. Jessie lowered her head, struggling to reconcile the person before her with the one who had maliciously inflicted the injury last night. I can't tell you." With a pained expression, Jessie said, "I'm sorry, but I can't tell you right now." The light in James's eyes instantly dimmed. He said nothing further and walked away, looking dejected. Alright, so we got ourselves another part of demonic wrath. At that moment, Jessie thought she heard a faint, mocking laugh from the shadows. To be continued. Alright. Cool. We managed to make a person that likes violence happy. Alright, so we've got some new exhibitions. Okay, so we got that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Jessie only. So, let's make some merch. Let's see what we've got for commissions, too. So we've got amnesia. Okay, so let's do a color card. I'll make one more Jessie thing. Okay, looks good. Alright, so we got some stuff for the Jessie exhibit. Alright, so it is now 18 o'clock. Let's see, let's see here. Ooh. It's too late, come back tomorrow. Darn. Let's go brainstorm at the cat cafe then. Let's see, magic, fluff, and angst. I believe... Oh, good. I do have an angst and fluff story, so I will do that tomorrow. Time for go to bed. Ooh, what have we got here? Alright, so... Why is this moved into the other... Ah, that's what I needed to do. Okay. Alright. Alright, so it looks like we are able to upload our booth online. Okay, so let's do the Fluffy Angst Commission. Witch's Treasure. Ah, this is... We've already written this one, but this time we can probably mix things up a little bit. Alright. The immortal witch James found a human child. The immortal witch Jessie found a human child. The child was named James. When Jessie found him, his family had already perished. Jessie had lived in the forest for 1,000 years with a long lifespan, never interacting with humans. But at that moment, when she saw the child amidst the ruins, a thought emerged. You are as lonely as I am, aren't you? Thinking this, she took James back home. Humans grow up too quickly. In almost the blink of an eye, James had grown into an adult. James was brisk and refreshing, like a cool breeze blowing through the forest. The witch, who lived alone in the forest and rarely interacted with humans, became increasingly curious about James. The witch often made potions, and James helped the witch gather materials in the forest. One day, James accidentally slipped and fell off a cliff. When Jessie found him, he had a broken leg and was lying miserably in the bushes. James said to Jessie, "Thank goodness you came. I thought I was going to die." Jessie was stunned. "Die? Can you die?" James replied matter-of-factly, "I am human. Unlike you, humans inevitably die. It's just a matter of time." Jessie belatedly realized that humans do indeed die, but she had never thought about James dying. Even though it was only a few decades, she inexplicably felt that James would always stay with her. Jessie thought the witch was cursed to be immortal. The curse came from a magic mirror deep in the forest. The magic mirror could grant any wish, but would take something important as a price. The memory was too distant and had become blurry. Long ago, someone wished for Jessie to live on, so Jessie strived to live on, even if it meant losing the most precious thing. Immortality was both the witch's price and curse. At some point, James disappeared. He went out to gather herbs and never returned. Perhaps, as Jessie said, human life is too fragile. A fall from a height, a beast attack, or poisoning from mistakenly eaten herbs could easily take their life. Jessie searched for James for a long time until autumn passed and winter came. James never reappeared. His bones were probably buried under the white snow, becoming part of the forest. The witch hadn't appeared for a long time, and her familiars were all worried. The familiars tried every means to cheer Jessie up, but Jessie remained spiritless. After spring, everything revived, but Jessie still hid in her little wooden house. After all, it was just being alone. She was long used to it. Before James appeared, she had spent 1,000 years like this. It was nothing. Knock, knock. The door was knocked. Jessie thought it was another one of her familiars and impatiently sent them away. "It's me!" A familiar voice came from the doorway. Jessie was stunned. The wooden door slowly opened. The man standing outside was actually James. He was covered in scars and a wretched state, but his eyes were shining. "I found the magic mirror and wished to share half of your curse," James chuckled. "Immortality must be very lonely. I thought if I died, you would be lonely by yourself." James emitted a special magical power. He was no longer human, but the same kind as Jessie. "Let me stay with you, Jessie." Before the words fell, the witch tightly embraced him. When she realized it, tears were streaming down the witch's face. The witch had lost emotions due to the curse. She hadn't cried for 1,000 years, but now the witch was crying. Was it because the curse was lessened, or was it because of the regained treasure? James raised his hand and hugged his witch back. He knew from now on she would never feel lonely again. Aww. Magical fluff. Okay. Ooh, we unlocked a new illustration. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, James would cross-dress as a witch, I'm sure. Okay, so we haven't completed that commission yet, so we need some angst, but let's see what else we can do here. Ooh, enemies. Enemies, 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 me's. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have enemies. Let's see if we've got angst. No angst. Jeez. Alright, well, I guess we'll go exploring. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have angst anywhere around here, but let's see. Let's see. We'll... Wonder where we can try going. Oh, let's go visit Nora at the mall. I'll never curse another fandom again. I used to be so good at cursing another fandom. The feeling of not being able to do something you were once good at, it's so hollow. If one day I can't draw anymore, there will be no one in the world who needs me, right? Jewelry Jelly Sensei, please tell me you'll never leave me. I'll never leave you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Stare. Nora always seems to have these monologues that drag her mood down, then she says weird things. I just wish I could cheer her up. Let's give her a little present. Aw. Okay, so let's do science fiction. And let's see. Okay, time for go to bed. Okay. New exhibitions. And new commissions. Let's see. Alright, let's do the enemies tag. Tale of an Angel and a Demon, Part 1. A man is standing by the roadside, sweat trickling down his forehead. Clutched in his hand is a wallet he just found along the path in the dark. Within him, an inner angel and demon are fiercely battling over the wallet's fate. Don't get it wrong, this isn't a metaphor. He can actually hear the voices of an angel and a demon. The angel's voice is flat and emotionless, urging him to turn the wallet into the police. At the same time, the demon's voice is low and dangerous, tempting him to keep the wallet for himself. The debate between the two voices grows increasingly intense. Such distinct voices, could this be real? The man starts to question his sanity. In the end, however, the demon's persuasion prevails. With trembling hands, he stuffs the wallet into his bag, nervously looks around, and then walks away. A sharp sound suddenly cuts through the air, and the next second 2 figures appear. James, I won this round again. The angel named James has a pair of pure white wings on his back and an aura that could cleanse all the sins of the world. Hearing this, he glances at his old rival beside him. Allow me to correct you. The score is now 5,482 to 5,481, Jessie. The demon known as Jessie smirks. She has black wings surrounded by a faint dark mist that seems to mock every rule and moral in existence. Congratulations in advance on your report. I'm off to Hell's Bar to celebrate with a drink, to the taste of your defeat. Bye-bye! With that, Jessie vanishes. James stares at the spot where she disappeared and sighs inwardly, knowing she's right. He does need to submit a report explaining why he lost to the demon. In the last 10,000 years, he's written 5,481 such reports. Of course, he knows Jessie has done the same. When he returns to heaven, the white clouds are still calm and peaceful, with angels in white robes rushing about. James keenly senses a hint of something unusual. As he reaches the end of the grand hall, he sees his superior, the Archangel... Mewtwo, waiting for him. James bows in respect, but notices that Mewtwo is frowning, and instead of the usual scolding over James's failure, he solemnly says, James, there's an urgent situation you need to handle. What is it? A sealed evil spirit has escaped its bounds. Its power is enough to threaten the balance of the 3 realms. It's reportedly hiding in your assigned area, so we need you to work with a demon to resolve this issue. Work with a demon? James repeats in shock. He should have seen this coming. How could he not have guessed? When he arrives at the designated meeting place and sees Jessie dressed in black human attire, James's facial muscles twitch imperceptibly. Jessie spots him and raises a bottle, drawing a few curious glances. I just ordered a drink when the boss dragged me over here. She shrugs innocently. Want a drink? My treat. Ooh, should we take a drink or should we refuse? Let's see. I think we should take it. James hesitates, but ultimately takes her drink, defiantly taking a sip. The drink's not bad. It's Hell's Bar signature, blazing whiskey, Jessie says with delight. It's my favorite. She's about to take the bottle back when James snaps his fingers and the bottle explodes, scattering shards all over. As Jessie stares in shock, James chuckles and says, to prevent you from drinking and slacking off on the job, I thought I'd take care of it. No need to thank me, Jessie. The score, 5,482 to 5,482. Okay. Alright. Rival relationships are the best. Okay, the commission is complete. Got ourselves a nice little Polaroid. And let's see. Give me some angst. Ooh, we can make a fanzine. Okay, we got that printed successfully. Lovebird chase. Okay, let's head out. Let's take a look at the exhibition and see if we can get some angst there. Ooh, angst and amnesia, damn! Okay, time for go to bed, I guess. We meet again. Now you shall name your choice. And I was actually looking for a Need a Bag earlier this week because I kind of want a sort of professional looking one for events that I'm going to. And I ended up finding a very nice pure black one. Okay, I can't really do anything yet. Okay, tomorrow is the Jesse Oatley event. So, alright, we are going to do the amnesia story. I think I wanted to commission an amnesia plot, but I forgot the specific plot. James, you met your end for loving a serpent spirit of under 100 years, a relationship unforgivable to both human and monster realms. You were close to achieving immortality. Human and monster authorities alike originally planned to kill the serpent alone, severing your connection. But instead, you shielded the serpent with your mortal body, offering no resistance. You only said that, no matter how wrong the act, the responsibility was yours alone. You pleaded for the serpent's life, even if it meant a death of 1,000 arrows. The king of the underworld set down the book of life and death, and, facing him, spoke gravely to the kneeling figure. Considering your lifelong service, which has more than compensated for your deeds, I grant you one request before your reincarnation. James, before that, may I ask, how is Jessie? How did she fare after my death? The king of the underworld gave a cold snort. Once clever, now foolish. You're already dead. Without your protection, that serpent had no chance of survival. James was silent for a long time, then bowed deeply. I wish to be reborn as a monster. I will not return to the duties of the human world. Only let me be with her. The king of the underworld took note and spoke once more. Indeed, those who seek the way avoid earthly attachments, yet here you are. Very well. When you cross the bridge of forgetfulness, you may choose whether or not to drink the tea of Lethe. With it, past troubles are eased, yet even without it, destiny will find a way. Okay, so we'll drink it, because, this is all about amnesia. James nodded and left the hall. Moments later, a small demon ran to the king of the underworld, shouting. A serpent spirit forced her way in, demanding to be reborn as a human, and she even knocked over the tea of Lethe. There's a half-immortal seal on her. No one could stop her. The king sighed. Enough. Let this matter rest. Having lost all memory, James was reborn as a small snake and spent years cultivating some measure of intelligence. One day, half asleep, he suddenly heard someone calling to him. James, I've finally found you. James had no idea what this human intended and turned his head, presenting his tail as if to say he didn't understand human speech. Still, a subtle curiosity stirred in him. This human seemed to carry his aura. But how could a mere snake, not yet able to take human form, have left a mark on anyone? Unfazed, the human scooped him up and tossed him into a basket, mumbling all the while. It took me ages to take human form, only for you to turn into a snake. Listen up. Your name is James, and mine is Jessie. From now on, you're my snake, and I'm your person. Nestled into the soft bedding below, James felt drowsy once more. Though the human's words were unintelligible, they included a name. Since this human seemed attentive, perhaps earning her wasn't so bad. Alright, we have an amnesia story with angst, and we just went up in fandom. Alright, got ourselves a new sticker. Choose me, marry me, me make you happy. Ah. Okay, so, an enemies to lovers and enemies. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's see. We'll get some angst. Okay, I don't know what that meant. Alright, let's see. Modern and drama. Alright, we'll go to the mall. And let's see. We'll brainstorm some modern. Okay. Alright, time for go to bed. Alright, so it's time to do some sales. Ah. Whoops. Ah, man, one failed sale. Okay, Comic-Con success. Okay, and then there's a James-only event. We got some more modern drama. Alright, so let's set up our booth. And let's make some new crafts, I guess. Okay, so it looks like we are all done for the night. Time for go to bed. Something, something only for... Oh, medieval. And the gashapons are refreshed. Let's take a look and see. Oh, nice. James on the drums. Alright, let's see here. Angel and Demon AU. No workplace harassment. Jessie looked around at the eerily sinister forest at night. Ghostly winds blew through, creating creepy sounds, and she gripped her staff tightly, even feeling the urge to turn around and leave. The new president of the Magic Association, dead old woman. She didn't actually know if that person was an old man because it didn't matter. She simply wanted to curse that unseen leader. What really mattered was that this person had specifically ordered her, a newcomer to the magical world, to handle a cursed forest. She had spent the entire day racking her brain, trying to figure out how she could have possibly offended the chairman. But Jessie skillfully took a few turns in the forest and recited some quick spells, causing certain obstructing vines to obediently part. She repeated this process a few more times, until a small wooden cabin came into view. Satisfied, Jessie nodded and pushed open the decayed wooden door. She was glad that she lived in this forest as a child. Later, her family had moved away. Not long after, this area had become known as a forbidden, cursed forest, and she hadn't returned since. Where's that book I wrote? Jessie searched the cabin but couldn't find a storybook she had written for fun as a child, an adventure story set in this very forest. Now that she had thought about it, the forest looked eerily similar to how she had described it in the story. What had she written into it? Monsters? Spirits? Almost as if to confirm her thoughts, spirits and monsters suddenly burst through the door, chasing her as she ran around, screaming. Was this some sort of miracle? There was even a powerful main character named James in the story. Where was he? This way. A pair of hands, cold as though they've been dead for 3 days, seized Jessie's wrist. The figure's silhouette gradually merged with the image in her mind. The entire story kept matching up with what she remembered, until they managed to escape and stood in the moonlight, exactly as in the last scene of her tale. I am actually the source of the curse. Will you stay here with me? Of course, she knew it. This was exactly the line the male lead said to the heroine at the end. Fine, I'm willing. Saying that couldn't go wrong, right? That's what the heroine would say after all. Satisfied, James nodded, then clapped his hands, and suddenly the forest transformed from sinister to lively, with all the monsters and specters disappearing. At least you have a conscience. You created me and then left me here for years. Fine, I'm sorry. Can I return to complete my report? The chairman is still waiting. Oh, he's not waiting. He just wanted to mess with you. And how would you know that? Perhaps because I am that damn old man. Alright. Okay, we got ourselves a new illustration, the demon and the priest. And we have a Bad Omens Polaroid. Okay, let's see. Oop, time for go to bed. Okay. New commissions. Merch staff's wanted. So let's go to the bookstore. Ooh, we can upgrade it. Can study some angst. Isn't a bookstore basically a library? And we will work the bookstore. got ourselves another display stand. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay, I better stay away from buying stuff for a while because I got a bunch of stuff. Alright, so let's see what we've got for, let's see, Angst and Fluff. Abandoned Dog. The rain outside pattered softly, outlining the gloomy night. There was a knock at the door. James opened it, and standing there was Jessie. Rain had drenched her completely, leaving her looking like a stray puppy, soaked to the bone and without a place to go. Sorry, James. I couldn't think of anywhere to go, Jessie said in a low voice. Let her in. Come in, James said, stepping aside to let Jessie enter. James had heard whispers about what had happened to her. Seeing Jessie, once so full of life, reduced to this state left him with a heavy feeling. Jessie took a shower and soon fell asleep on the sofa. James sat silently, staring at the peaceful, almost fragile look at her on her face, feeling his heartbeat inexplicably quicken. Okay, so this, we didn't do Angst and Fluff, so let's see. Delete and redo. Okay, There's no welcome for you here. James frowned slightly, shutting the door and leaving Jessie's fragile gaze outside. James turned back towards the three men in black waiting in the living room and slowly raised his hands. Will that do? Okay, so that didn't really go forward that well, so let's see. Let's make it the happy ending. Okay, we're gonna submit this anyway. They'll live happily ever after, right? Okay, so looks like time for go to bed. Oh, hi Crazy Chimkin Lady, how's it going? Yeah, poor Growly. Okay. Hold on one moment. folks, I needed to go and check on something. Okay, so it's the morning. Let's see. Ooh, we got level up for campus. So now we've got campus, silly, and crushes. Daw. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see what we got for commissions. Alright. Some more angst, huh? Angst, 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 angst. No angst? Enemies to lovers? Let's see. There's some angst. Give me some angst. Nom nom nom. The seventh night. On the seventh night after Jesse's death, James awoke suddenly from sleep. It felt as though cold arms were wrapped around his back. He tried to sit up but found himself unable to move. Jesse, is that you? No one responded, but the room seemed to grow even colder, as if an unseen presence were answering him. Only 7 days had passed since Jesse's death. He had not yet adjusted to this world without her. In a flash, James recited a chant learned from a Taoist priest. By command of the heavens, evil spirit be gone! Moments later, the sensation of sleep paralysis vanished. James pulled the covers over his head, feeling relieved. Even as a ghost, you don't get to disturb my sleep. Alright, good night, Jesse. Okay, so no angst, but we did get a question mark? Okay, gonna try again. Call Jesse's name. Before he could think, James felt a dampness on his cheeks. Jessie. Whispering her name softly, he felt a cold, gentle touch on his lips. The next day, James noticed a faint bruise on his wrist. When asked by concerned friends, James smiled and reassured them. It's nothing. Just a dream, that's all. Alright. Angst, get. Okay, and now it is time for go to bed. Okay, some more commissions. Sweet stories and fantasy, drama and celebrity. More angst. Let's see, we'll do fluff and fantasy. Who was that with you this morning? It was Jesse, we just ran into each other. They sat across from each other at the long dining table with James at one end and his father at the other, the air between them so tense it was almost suffocating. The child of that businessman, his father remarked coldly. And you're just a parish priest. James thought, but kept his head down, saying nothing. That grating voice continued. Bad company corrupts good morals. Are you sure we're doing this here? Your father forbade me from stepping into your house. Perched uncertainly on the high wall, Jessie hesitated before James lifted his hands to steady her, guiding her down to land directly on the balcony of his room. Then, James deftly took Jessie's hand, drawing close to kiss her cheek, her eyelids, and finally her lips. Jessie made a token resistance before tilting her head to meet him, and from the silent hallway came the sounds of suppressed breaths. James couldn't even remember how they first got entangled, only that he had initiated the first kiss. Perhaps the thrill of secrecy had only intensified his feelings, and Jessie didn't push him away, letting things continue in this muddled way. How long could they keep this up? His father had already begun to suspect. Some part of him wished someone would fling the door open right now, maybe scream, letting everyone in the house know. That uptight father of his and his mother, that ruined noble. Then he could take Jessie by the hand, climb over the balcony railing openly, and proudly hold her hand, fingers intertwined. Jessie might be a little scared, but it would be fine. She loved him and wouldn't let go. James finally stopped, both of them breathless as they broke apart. Why shouldn't we? Alright, a fluffy fantasy. And we got ourselves a new sticker. Crazy for you. Okay, let's see. Oh, we can publish a fanzine. The willing one takes the bait. Alright, we've printed 10 fanzines. And now, we are able to create our own book. Okay, crime investigation turmoil needed for that one. Okay. have 500 out of 500 in the eater room. Okay, let's see what we can do now. More people wanting angst. Let's see, somebody wants drama and celebrity, so hey, let's go out to the movies. Ooh, campus can level up. And the bookstore can level up too. Let's see, why don't we just go ahead and take that. Drama and celebrity. Ooh, Interstellar. Alrighty. Time for go to bed. Alright, we got ourselves some drama and celebrity. Casino Fate. For the first time in his life, wealthy heir James traveled to Las Vegas to experience its intoxicating allure. At the card table, James was stunned. You know what? Let's switch. For the first time in her life, wealthy heir Jessie traveled to Las Vegas to experience its intoxicating allure. At the card table, Jessie was stunned to see a familiar face, her high school classmate James. Once inseparable, James had dropped out after graduation, leaving Jessie with many unanswered questions. The young dealer moved deftly, but there was a hint of weariness in his gaze. Jessie looked away, flipping open her card. She won all the chips on the table. Jessie waited outside for the casino until dawn. Finally, James appeared, now out of uniform, dressed casually in a hoodie and jeans, looking almost the same as she remembered from school. James grasped Jessie's hand, looking down. Please, take me away from here. Jessie extended a card with all the money she had access to. She knew about the rumors that shadowed James, but it didn't matter. Whether James used it to pay off debt or place one more bet, she didn't care. Jessie was willing to take risks together. James took the card, blowing gently on it. God bless you. The next day, Jessie accompanied Big James back to the casino. Strangely enough, Lady Luck seemed to smile on Jessie as she tasted nothing but victory at the tables. She turned to look at James beside her. James was smiling serenely. Though Jessie wasn't one to believe in fate, she eyed James suspiciously. James smiled. Then, with a flick of his deft fingers, a card slipped out from his sleeve and vanished just as quickly. Winning too much draws resentment, and Jessie grew concerned they might not leave the casino so easily. James leaned close to Jessie's ear, whispering, "One last gamble. I bet we leave here safely." They did return home without a scratch. Later, Jessie casually mentioned to James that the casino where they'd reunited had changed ownership. It seemed the former boss had been rather young, though few had ever seen him. James blinked and smiled, handing Jessie a piece of afternoon cake. Alrighty. Got ourselves... Woohoo! Alright, time for go to bed. We meet again. Now you shall name your choice. Okay, so it looks like one day is James's convention. Let's see. Fantasy and enemies. There's a small convention here tomorrow. Cordelia said they'd help Velvy set up the booth. We're here! Hey folks, check out our booth. Look at this banner. Another pun banner, huh? Everyone loves puns. Are puns really that funny? Being funny isn't the point, it's about making rocket shipping memorable. Okay, fair enough. Wow, so grudging. You're always so stingy with praise for me, but so generous with Jewelry Jelly Sensei. First time I'm hearing about you wanting my praise. I want everyone's praise. I want people to tell me I did a great job, that they had fun at my booth. Isn't that obvious? You actually said it. Not like it's some big secret. Oh, well done then. That's such a half-hearted compliment. What do you want from me? They always bicker like this during setup. They must be really close. Aw. Learned so many new things. Let's give them some presents. Alright, time for go to bed. And time for event. Whoops. Alright, we are now sold out with one failed sale. Alright, Comic-Con success. Alright, let's see what we've got for commissions. Celebrity 12-hour event. Got any angst? let's go see Nora. Well, actually, no. Crushes. Alright, got some more inspiration, and it's time for go to bed. Gachapon is refreshed, got some new commissions. Okay, so it looks like, let's set out. Oh, pretty cute. Got some good stuff. Alright, so the 10-year promise. And let's see. Heart-wrenching. Happy ending. Okay. The 10-year war has finally come to an end, and the commander dispatched by the central tower. Jesse walked over irritably and pressed the button to turn off the creaky old television, plunging the cramped one-person apartment into silence. The commander dispatched by the central tower, James, would soon return and receive the highest honor in a grand ceremony. Jesse mentally filled in the words the TV hadn't yet finished saying, staring blankly at the wooden photo frame on the bedside table. In the photo, she wore a clumsily woven flower crown, smiling so broadly her eyes curved. Another person was right next to her, carefully placing the flower crown on her head. If that person hadn't been James, anyone who saw the photo would think they were a perfect match. The youngest genius in the Empire, the Central Tower's top sentinel, the future hope of the Empire. Before James entered the Central Tower, they had shared an unspoken, secret tenderness, an intimacy that had never been fully voiced. Wait for me to come back. I'll end this war as soon as I can, and when it's over, come find me here, all right? On the day James left, he stood beneath the tallest Wutong tree in the city, his figure bathed in the golden light of sunset. With sadness hidden deep in his eyes, he nearly pleaded with him. Yeah! She would take a gamble. What if he really would return? In these 10 years, he had worried for her as much as she had feared for his safety on the battlefield. She had never believed gamblers had good outcomes, yet now she was desperate to win just once would be enough. Jesse walked hesitantly along the familiar path to the Wutong tree. It had been so long since she had come here. The stones underfoot, the wild daisies along the road, even the chill of the evening breeze, all of it reminded her of the words and promises James had once whispered in her ear. In the distance, she could make out a tall figure standing under the Wutong tree, idly twirling a blade of grass. The fading sunset outlined his silhouette in gold. Jessie held her breath and stopped in her tracks. The figure seemed to sense her presence, raising a hand to wave at her, just as casually as before. Long time no see. You're so slow. I've been waiting nearly a whole day. She had won the gamble. No. Okay. All right. Time for go to bed. More angst. Interstellar sci-fi. Okay, well, let's see. We'll go to the mall and do some sci-fi. Kidfic, Android. Have you memorized your duties? Yes, I have. Repeat them for me. Clean up the house and make sure everything inside and out is spotless. James nodded approvingly, watching as Jesse bent over, grabbed various cleaning tools, and set to work, moving efficiently as programmed. Jesse was the state-of-the-art cleaning robot James had bought at a high price. With his busy job and large house, he'd kept up with the trend, getting the latest human-like cleaning bot. Oh boy, is this gonna turn into me and Roboco? But that day after work, James stepped into the perfectly warm bath, ready to relax. Footsteps echoed rhythmically, stopping just behind him. James waited, but Jesse said nothing. Unable to contain his curiosity, he turned around and asked, "So, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to clean you. I will ensure you're spotless inside and out." Hoo boy! No, that's not how you're supposed to interpret that. Okay, time for go to bed. More commissions. Alright, another medieval and the truce. Let's see. Alright, The Willing One Takes the Bait, Part 2. The next noon, James stepped into the busiest restaurant in the capital. Although he had let Jesse escape last night, the treasure was still safe, and the thief hadn't gained anything. Thus, James decided to take a break and enjoy a meal at this well-renowned place. As soon as he sat down, he was at a loss for words. Sitting at the table in front of him was none other than the little thief Jessie, who had battled him fiercely last night. Jessie was completely absorbed in her meal and hadn't noticed James. Given that it took an hour to queue for a table, James thought it best to wait until she finished eating before attempting to apprehend her, so he settled down to eat. A constable and a thief, separated by a table, unexpectedly began to feast away with great enthusiasm. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed as a burly man with a fierce expression firmly grabbed an old man's wrist, causing the old man to tremble in fear. The thug shouted, "Old man, you've dirtied my shoes. These shoes are worth 1,000 taels. How will you compensate me?" The old man stuttered, "I don't have that much money." "Then sell me your children." James frowned deeply, just about to scold the man when someone intervened before he could. "Brother, where did you buy those shoes that they are worth 1,000 taels? Could you tell your little sister?" Today Jessie was dressed like a hero, with a sword at her waist, looking stylish and elegant. The thug paused, momentarily captivated by her presence. After a moment, he snapped back to reality and shouted angrily, "What's it to you? Keep talking and I'll deal with you too." Jessie smirked with disdain. "You're welcome to try." The thug swung his fist at Jessie, who was clearly standing there, and no one could see her movements, but she suddenly disappeared. The next second, the thug screamed in pain, and everyone couldn't help but exclaim. Jessie appeared behind him at some point, pressing his shoulders and pinning him to the table. "Dare you do it again?" I won't, I'll leave right now. Please, spare my life. Ouch!" "Then get lost." The thug fled in a panic, and the old man gratefully thanked them. James turned back to continue drinking, only to suddenly realize that the wine in front of him had vanished. He looked over and saw that the thief from earlier was sitting across from him, leisurely drinking his wine. "Is this show interesting, James?" Jessie asked, savoring the wine. James looked at the pink stain on her cheek and couldn't help but sigh. You really are audacious. There's a wanted poster for you hanging downstairs right now. Jesse tipped her head back and finished his wine. Do those incompetent fools from the 6 doors really think they can catch me? The 6 doors, let's see. From Pewter City really think they can catch me? The so-called incompetent fool sat across from her, whose face dark as a pot bottom. After waiting in line for an hour, he had lost the limited wine, and even the most patient person would be furious. Just as he was about to slam the table, Jessie sensed the danger and quickly flipped out of the window. James leaned down to look, but she had already vanished from sight, leaving him shaking his head and sitting back down. In the peach blossom season, with a strange breeze blowing and the air fragrant, James felt a strange sweetness in his heart, despite having lost a drink. However, things soon took a turn. After wandering around for a while in the afternoon, James returned to Pewter City in the evening. As soon as he entered, he saw his subordinates rushing towards him, shouting, "Captain, it's bad! The envoy! The envoy has been killed and the treasures have disappeared!" Alright. Okay, so... let's go to the cat cafe and say hi to Nora. The cats here are so friendly and mellow. You don't seem to be too thrilled, though. Cats are inherently free-spirited. If they become very obedient, it just means they've gone through lots of training. A free cat should be free to scratch. Look, all these scratches are my badges of honor. Oh, I always thought those were scars from your wrist cutting. Of course not! Okay, yeah, that was a very bad assumption on your part, Lily. Okay. Sorry for being late. My cat threw up a hairball while I was leaving today, so it took me a bit longer to clean up. Was it that orange cat? Huh? Now, how would you know that, Jewelry Jelly Sensei? You've got orange cat hair on your clothes. Look, right here. Ugh, so close. It's right here, see? Look, look, achoo! Are you alright, Jewelry Jelly Sensei? Did you catch a cold? Probably not. Achoo! It's just that sometimes my allergies are a bit sensitive. Achoo! Could it be because of that cat hair? Please, step away from me. Was it really because of that? Huh, that actually worked. My nose isn't itchy anymore. You moved away. You're so far away from me now. I'm really sorry, but if I sneeze on you, that would be pretty rude as well. That's true. Sneezing is awkward. Let's just keep this distance. When will you recover from your cat hair allergy, Jewelry Jelly Sensei? It's only been 20 seconds. It just got me thinking. I feel really bad about it, but my thoughts often slide into the most pessimistic places, and I can't help but wonder. If you don't ever recover from your cat allergy, would I have to choose between you and my cats, Jewelry Jelly Sensei? I could never abandon my cats. I've made a lifelong commitment to care for each and every one of them. There's nothing more shameful than breaking trust with the vulnerable. But if that means I would have to go without you, Jewelry Jelly Sensei, my feelings would probably be like those of an abandoned kitty. So if that day ever comes, if the day really comes when I have to choose one or the other, I might as well just die. Wait a minute, how did the conversation get to this point? Quick, say you won't let me die. I won't let you die, we're friends. Hearing you say that warms my heart, even if I were to die. Don't die! Alright. Okay, so I think for that, we are going to, let's see, we are going to save and quit for the evening. And let me check to see who is streaming and we can give them a raid. Oh, we are going to raid Little Karibo, who is playing Super Robot Wars. Alright everybody. everybody, thank you very, very much for joining me. I hope you all have a good night. I will see you all again, hopefully, on Thursday night. We will be continuing. And until then, this has been Jewelry Jelly with Cody and George Washing Machine. And until we meet again, may all of your tea times be perfect.